In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started on the keto diet properly, because there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do it. This is the exact same approach that one of my students used when she was just getting started. At the time, she was limited to what she could do for exercise. So she just did a lot of walking, which I also talk a lot about on my channel, and some body weight exercises. After 6 months, she dropped a mind-bending 6 dress sizes and lost 25 pounds of fat. So you know it works. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. It really helps support my channel. All right, let's get into it. First things first, I'm just gonna address the giant elephant in the room. Yes, I have a little bit of bruising on my left eye. Again, it's from sparring and Muay Thai. You should see the other guy. Sorry, mom. Okay, back to the topic. Let's quickly define what the keto diet is. The keto diet, in its very essence, is a very low carb, moderate protein, high fat diet. You have to severely limit your carb intake, and you have to be getting most of your calories from fat to trigger a metabolic switch, or it's not a keto diet. And there's usually 2 ways that people take to get started. You can ease your way into it and do it gradually, or you can violently force your body into this new way of eating. You go from 0 to 100, or for this instance, 100 to 0 carbs. You deprive your body of glucose and force it to become ketonic, which can be extremely hard on your body. Your body is literally gonna freak out, which can trigger some side effects. You're not gonna feel good. Based on my experience from coaching hundreds of students over the years, people unfortunately take this latter approach. They stumble their way into keto, and more likely than not, they experience the dreaded keto flu. They get headaches and experience massive cravings because their bodies are literally going through carb withdrawals, which often makes people quit before their bodies are fully fat adapted, which roughly takes anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. And then they say keto didn't work for them, it's just a fad, and they go back to their old ways. If you eat the standard American diet, for example, which is a high carb, low fat diet, which is the complete opposite of the keto diet, you're easily getting a mind-bending 300 to 500 grams of highly processed, insulinogenic, meaning fat promoting carbs daily. And then you see your friend who loses a ton of weight on keto, or maybe you read a book on it or watch one of my videos. You're motivated and you immediately want to cut your carbs to 0. If you think about it, that's almost offensive to your current way of eating. Physiologically speaking, it's too drastic of a change to your brain that's been expecting glucose every 3 hours for basically most of your life. Instead, you're pulling a fast one on it and say you're not gonna get a steady supply of glucose moving forward. Figure it out. And again, your body responds to this with the dreaded keto flu because you haven't built up the metabolic machinery because you've been carb dependent this entire time. And whether you're willing to stick it out or not during this keto flu process is anybody's guess. Because you're not a light switch, you're more like a knob. There are levels to this. Imagine being in a basement with no windows, but it's well lit so you can see properly. If somebody flips the switch and all of a sudden it's pitch black, you're probably not gonna do very well finding your way around the room, and you're most likely gonna stumble your way around. Now think about one of those fancy dimmable lights. If you dim the lights a little bit, you can still see. And then you can just gradually adjust it all the way down to the lowest setting. I highly recommend that you take this similar, gentler approach. You kind of want to ease your way into it, especially if you plan on doing it for the rest of your life. Like, what's the rush? You slowly build your metabolic machinery by teaching your body to become good at burning fat first. Don't ditch all the carbs right away. Not all carbs are bad. They really only become problematic when they disrupt homeostasis. This is why I always say that what you stop eating has far more impact to your health than what you start eating. Just start by getting rid of the most offensive ones like cookies, chips, crackers, candy, breakfast cereal, granola bars, bread, pasta, designer coffees, and the likes. Then you want to replace them with a wide variety of vegetables. Feel free to eat as much vegetables as you want until you're fully satiated. You can have some fruit, maybe some tubers, some high quality dairy like Greek yogurt, and some cheese if you can tolerate it, and some nuts like macadamia nuts. That dietary switch sends a signal to your brain that there's not going to be a steady supply of glucose coming every meal. And with that, the body starts to adapt because the body is an adaptation machine. It starts to become good at burning fat. Fat gets released from storage because insulin, the storing hormone, stays moderated, which allows stored energy to get utilized, and that's what fat is, and get burned for energy. Because again, you're not eating insulinogenic foods in the form of processed carbs and sugar. What you'll also find is because you're eating nutrient-dense foods, you actually feel satiated from your meals, which might be a completely foreign feeling for a lot of people, which then virtually eliminates one of the worst eating habits we've developed: snacking. So when you ditch the most offensive carbs and replace them with a wide variety of vegetables, you'll usually land in the 100 grams range. And then when you get to a point when you're reasonably fat adapted, that usually takes around 21 days or 3 weeks. And you'll know because you always feel good and you don't have these crazy energy and mood swings, probably for the first time in a long time. Now it just becomes a question of, can you find another 50 grams of carbs that you can gracefully cut out? And some people can get away with more, especially if they're really active. But generally speaking, 50 grams of carbs in total or less is almost guaranteed to put the average person in the state of nutritional ketosis. Maybe you eat less tubers and more cauliflower. Maybe you limit your fruit intake to seasonal berries and avocados. If you completely cut out snacks and just eat 2 to 3 meals, you'll usually comfortably land in that 50-gram ballpark. Then it becomes this nice and graceful transition. The liver ramps up the production of ketones, which is a clean burning fuel compared to carbs. Because carbs burn dirty, it leaves free radicals, and you gracefully become keto adapted. I'd say the key is to find vegetables you enjoy eating. If you don't find them enjoyable, I'd argue that you just don't know how to prepare them properly. No, you don't need to be a top chef to do this. I'm one of the laziest cooks on the planet. If you have access to an oven, put that thing to use. Leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables are usually your best options, like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, broccolini, as well as mushrooms and squash. Just pick a few you enjoy eating. Also, make sure to cook your vegetables to make the nutrients more bioavailable. And you don't really need to count the carb content of non-starchy vegetables. They're almost negligible because they also contain fiber. For example, half an avocado has 8.5 grams of carbs, but also contains 6.7 grams of fiber. So you get a net carb count of 1.8 grams, which is nothing. So we're talking maybe 10 to 15 grams of net carbs in total per meal if you eat non-starchy vegetables. And then you want to buy the highest quality meat and animal products you can afford. To make the math stupid simple, try to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. If your ideal body weight is 150 pounds, for example, try to get close to 150 grams of protein every day. You also want to make sure that you get at least 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis. The keto diet is known to be muscle sparing, but you also want to make it muscle promoting. That's how you do it. I always try to mention that because having a lot of lean muscle mass is the key driver of your metabolism. It's the largest site for glucose disposal. It's your metabolic currency, which means you also need to do some strength training. But that's all the keto diet is. That's why I don't like diet labels, because people become so dogmatic about it. The keto diet finally allows you to rise above the ashes of metabolic inflexibility from being carb dependent, and you slowly become metabolically flexible again, which is our natural factory setting as human beings. It also pairs perfectly with intermittent fasting, which turbocharges the benefits that you get from the keto diet. And don't worry about exogenous ketones or ketone esters, which are really expensive. You don't need them. Just focus on eating real food. Stop eating like a butt. I used to date a vegetarian, and I always made a joke that I eat more vegetables than her being on the keto diet. Also, here's a very underrated tip. Because there's this adaptation process, make sure that you're in a good place in your life when you're making this dietary switch. Meaning you're not overly stressed. Like if you're going through relationship problems or you're stressed out of your mind at work, maybe it's not a good time to start a new diet. The cool thing is once you've built up this metabolic machinery, your body is comfortable producing ketones and burning it for energy, you become metabolically efficient. You can have the occasional day that kicks you out of ketosis temporarily. If you have a slice of pizza or if you go for sushi and dessert, that's fine. You don't feel bad about it. That's the point of metabolic flexibility. You want to live in that space. To me, that's part of living a radical life. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing. 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I was finally able to get rid of all my unwanted body fat without depriving myself of my favorite foods or spending countless hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. Hey, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week, and feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Virtual high five.